That white shirt. Yeah, தூங்காதமா. பரவாயில்ல. You sit down. That other one who was sleeping. You. கனவு கணக்கூடாதுமா. இந்த மாதிரி கனவு காண சொல்லலாமா? No. Did you like S.B. Balasubramanian? Did you think ever that
கனவு கணக்கூடாதுமா. இந்த மாதிரி கனவு காண சொல்லலாமா?
Do you sing?
No.
You do.
Did you like
Fantastic.
S.B. Balasubramanian?
I'll tell you something.
Did you think ever that கனவு கணக்கூடாதுமா? இந்த மாதிரி கனவு காண சொல்லலாமா?
Good performer?
Do you sing? No.
Everybody loves it.
You do. Did you like
Fantastic.
S.B. Balasubramanian?
No, but generally you get on stage and sing
Did you think ever that கனவு கணக்கூடாதுமா? இந்த மாதிரி கனவு காண சொல்லலாமா?
Good performer?
Do you sing? No.
Everybody loves it. No. Why I was fantastic. This thing was, but generally many times you want to have a good one. It could be a S.P. Song. It could be a Dhoni. Or it could be a superstar. But sometimes what happens is, just imagine the younger days, S.P. had looked at me, Sunil Gavaskar and thought I should be a superstar. What would have happened? But sometimes what happens is, just imagine just because he thought he had looked at me, or let me say Dhoni had looked at so much of me and said I should be like that. What would have been the disaster? People should also, like I said, the uniqueness is yours. Let me say Dhoni has to realize yours and I should be like that. And you will unnecessarily not use your name. Also probably a record person, government, Sachin Tendulkar played with them. Many tall people know this. I try to play basketball because and they find unnecessarily not that well. Also probably, in fact even today, there are so many Sachin Tendulkar, you're going to see something. I mean, tall people know that I try to play basketball because and they find why he didn't use so many other games. Yes, I expect to talk about it. Why I'm saying that is, it is important. In fact, when I was in the campus, I joined this company called Wipro. And Wipro is not a company yet. Why is it a division of the parent company? In fact, no one the parent company. When I was in the campus, what were they doing? I joined this company called Wipro. Even that was not known to everybody. Not a company. They used to say it was Tata division of the parent company. And when we go to talk to a parent company, somebody has to tell me that even that was not known to everybody. But I tell you something. This man is the guts of Azim Haji Premji. The person who thought, I will come to something which is so advanced in technology, I will do that. He is now where he is. But for that one trigger, because he felt that he had it in him to do that. If, let me say, he had felt very comfortable with whatever they were doing, he would have still been very good. But what he created is history, you can call it anything, it is amazing success. It's one of the things which impacted me, that when people desire to do something, they introspect, understand the uniqueness and attempt, they can really make it earth-shaking. It is extremely important, that is one thing. And in fact, one more thing is, when you are what you call a role model, it's important to understand from others and imbibe that and be what you are. Even Dr. Kalam had talked about when the first ever time in 1979 when that rocket fell into the Bay of Bengal, he was the one who was heading it. But then Satish Dhawan told, don't worry, I am there, and he addressed the press. In 8 months' time, in 1980, the same attempt was made, it went up. And now Satish Dhawan said, now it's for you to talk to the press. I'm telling you what type of DNA that is. When it's failure, the leader comes to the front. When it's success, he puts the team in front. I'll tell you what respect you'll have, and that is the type of impact that happens. And then a person like Kalam or n number of people like that imbibe those things, but they should also have it in them. It's very difficult because many times we feel, when I have succeeded, why should I give it to somebody else? Why not? I'll tell you, happiness and great energy, when you divide it, it multiplies a lot. You can never be sitting here. If only one person is laughing all the time, it will be like something wrong. If you see a movie, if there's a comedy, will one person laugh? The whole auditorium laughs. When you see Vivek or somebody doing a comedy, and the whole auditorium enjoys, because it is a collective happiness. Similarly, when some of these things, when we celebrate victory and when we share it with others, it actually energizes the whole team. So that is something as a leadership we should understand. And in fact, personally, I did a few things. Only once I will tell you. we were supplying a lot of loads of stuff which is going to Kerala from Chennai. It was some hardware items. On that particular day, in the evening, the truck driver came. As always, the truck driver came with nobody else. And at about 8 o'clock, we had to load it, and there was nobody. And we were all working in the office. We were there, and I, as the CEO, director, whatever it is, when I go there, everybody was blinking. I just did only one thing. I just got out of the truck and said, "Atvik Podbanga." I suddenly found my entire office there. Everybody was giving it to me, and suddenly they said, "Why are you there, sir? Come down." I tell you, the first thing is, when there is a problem, when there is a challenge, go to the front. Never say, look, if somebody look back, no? You look back, or you look back, the white shirt. Suddenly you look back, no? When I called you. So don't look back. Even if it's not you, like this white shirt, get up. He got up. It was not him, but he said, I'll answer. I'm telling you, become bold, become brave, become a mentor. I'm telling you, you'll be a fantastic role model. In fact, in my opinion, there are many times you may not get accolades for being a role model. You may say that Mahatma Gandhi is the father of the nation, and you will know another 10 or 15 people who are freedom fighters, who are leaders. But there are probably another 1 lakh or 2 lakh people who are freedom fighters, just because they were unique, they were freedom fighters, they were leaders, but they didn't expect anything, but that did not deter anything from them. They were having their own mental satisfaction about what they achieved, and we are benefited about from that. You don't have to be applauded for everything that you do to be a role model. You shouldn't expect. If you are a real role model, applause will automatically come to you, not to worry. But I'll tell you something, all of you people are capable of that. If I am sitting here, standing here in front of you, I was sitting like this, listening to somebody like me. So where is the question of you can also be standing like this. Why can't you, all of you at one stage in life, stand like me in front? It is possible. But for that, you have to introspect and use your USPs. And essentially what I'm saying is, all of us are reasonably uniquely positioned. All of you would have got out of 600 probably 620 out of 600. That's how you can get into CET. I know that. So all of you would have got marks by the tons, which means you guys are all almost equally highly intellectual. What else is the difference? I think with that type of intellect, you should be somewhere, no? You shouldn't be thinking that you're an ordinary people. You have all uniqueness. Make use of that. In fact, typically if you look at it, I think there are two things. One is manifested potential and unmanifested potential. The manifested potential is one which you have used. Many people, all of us, have innate potential which we never use, because we have that fear. We don't jump into taking challenges like that auto driver. He never was trained to be a traffic guy, but then he jumps in and takes. So invariably the potential within you, you never use until you get out of this world, you never use it. So nobody knows about it. There are people even at 60, like KFC, they start a company and it becomes a worldwide name. But then how many of us will have the chance to try it out after 65? I think right now you are lucky that we are having a chat like this, and we are talking like this, we are discussing like this, trying to understand that can I be somebody, a role model to others, not looking for a role model. And in fact, I personally feel that we are all born to be magnificent. When I say that, I'll just give you a small story. There is the story of an eagle's egg which fell into a chicken farm. And this egg, by chance, and it was hatched there, and the eaglet was born, and all the chicken were also born. It was going around here and there, and each of these chicken, they were all jumping around 1 feet high. This guy also looking around, jumping 1 feet high. And invariably, I think he used to look up and see this magnificent eagle flying high above the sky, and always feel, why am I not doing that? I'm like this, jumping 1 feet high, whereas that magnificent eagle is up there flying so beautifully. And the story goes that at some stage, this eaglet, jumping like this, not more than 2 feet, thought it was a hen or chicken or whatever it is, and died at that. Because that potential what was there was never known. But I'm saying, in CEG, you all are like eaglets. You can all fly magnificently. Even if in this crowd, one chicken egg comes in, that will also fly high. That is the type of institution you're in, that's the type of audience you're, that's the type of potential that you guys have. Why don't you realize that? Realize that all of you can be a Sundar Pichai, all of you can be a Satya Nadella, you can be role models. And I'll tell you something, believe in yourself. When you look at the mirror, be proud. When you're looking at the mirror and feeling that you are a role model to yourself, that's the day you'll be supremely successful. I wish all of you fantastically well. May God bless all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, sir. It was very enlightening. I request Dr. Swaminathan, sir, to present a small memento to thank Mr. Mike Muralidharan, sir. A dream does not become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. I feel honored to welcome Mr. Arjun Vijay, who is the co-founder and Chief Operating Officer, COO of Geodis Cryptocurrency Exchange, one of India's leading digital assets trading platforms. Mr. Arjun Vijay is an alumnus of Anna University who graduated in computer science engineering and later on went to graduate from IIM Kolkata. He is passionate about cryptocurrency, which motivated him to create a world-class cryptocurrency trading platform. Its main objective is to make it easy for people who are new to trading. He thrives to be innovating, remain customer-driven, and be a go-to platform for virtual trading. He brings experience across broad domains, including retail, telecom, renewable energy, and cryptography to provide perfect solutions. Sir, I request you to come up on stage and address the gathering.
But it's not R&D. Good evening, guys. So, see, I think you have already realized. So, I passed out from R&D Engineering College, but I want to call myself like an alumni of Anna University, right? So, there are around 500 colleges, I think, in Tamil Nadu, but all of them look up to CEG, right? You are in a fantastic position, and I think it's also hard to follow. Talk after someone called Mike Muralidharan. I also realized why he is called Mike Muralidharan with all that energy and everything, right? So I'll also continue with what you are saying, right? So the topic is way ahead. So I think from students' perspective, it's very important how you are going to, you have another 40 years of career ahead, right? You could be creating a lot of stuff, right? So what he means is you should take risk. Right? So, I think I'll take an example that you all will understand best, right? Just imagine we are in a T20 match, we are in the 16th over, just 2 wickets have fallen down, right? If the batsman is still taking singles, how will you feel? Woman, you should go for your sixes, right? You should take risk. So now you are in CEG, Tamil Nadu's most premier college. If you are going to get placed in yet another IT company, right, doing what everyone else is doing, it is like almost wasting a potential. You will be having a very safe you might have made a very safe decision. It's almost like you were 150 for 2 in 15 overs and you end up 180 for 2, right? You are wasting your potential at that, right? You should take some risks. I mean, we all admire Rishabh Pant when he goes for his shots. We all admire Sehwag when he goes for his shots, right? But when it comes to us, we try to play safe, right? We criticize our favorite cricketer. Whenever Dhoni comes and he plays first ball for a, single, right? We don't like when he's doing that. But in our own case, we kind of do it all the time, right? Having said this, I'll also talk, the topic today is way ahead, right? So let me go a little bit back to the past, right? And start my topic from there. So if you look at humans, we are not the most powerful animals in the planet, right? I mean, it's kind of a miracle why we are at the top of the pyramid. One of the reasons why we are at the top is because we can hack, we can hustle. A simple example. If you look at how many kilometers someone can travel, any animal can travel with say 100 calories, you will see man somewhere in the middle, like horses and a lot of other animals are much more efficient. But put man on a bicycle, right? He becomes the most efficient animal on the planet, right? A simple hack makes him go top of the pyramid, right? That's how humans have conquered. Over the years, it has come through different ways. First is language, right? We are able to communicate our ideas and pass it down. Then came books. We are able to codify this knowledge so that even the future generations, like how we have Tirukkural that has been codified 2000 years back, it's still available to us, right? Then we started harnessing the power of machines, right? Steam power, industrial revolutions, right? So before pyramids, it might have taken 20,000 people 20 years to build a pyramid. Today we are able to build massive buildings, right, in much shorter time with much less human resource because we have almost harnessed the power of nature, right? Everything has electrified. Then came the age of computers, right? So the growth has been very exponential. If you talk about the civilization, it is going like a hockey stick curve. And the best example is if you take someone from the 10th century, right, 1000 years back, put him 300 years into the future through a time machine, right? He'll not find it much different, right? A 10th century person and 13th century person, like the kind of food that they're having, the lifestyle that people are leading, there are again wars, there's not much change, right? But you do the same thing to the present generation. You take someone from 2000 and put him in 2022, right? He'll find the world around him has changed completely, right? The world is changing at a breakneck pace. It's changing at a very rapid pace, and if you are not moving fast enough, right, you will be left behind. Look at companies like Yahoo or Nokia. Nokia was the most popular mobile company when I was in school. By the time I finished college, the company itself was finished. Same with respect to Kodak, right? They were the largest when it comes to selling photos, right? It was not even a digital camera. People say digital camera disrupted them. It was not even digital camera. It was the smartphones with camera. Right? No one buys cameras these days, right? So it's very important. So knowing future, it's not like a hobby. It's like there will be some people here who will be reading newspapers all the time, who will want to be well updated with what's happening, right? At some point in time, it was left to few people. It was more of their own interest to know what's happening in the future. But now it's becoming a necessity, right? If you make a wrong choice, right? If you choose a wrong career, right? You might be moving very slow, right? So you should be aware of what is happening, right? You should be willing to take risks in a small niche, which is very small today, but can grow very fast in the future, right? So the reason why we need to be aware is, so man is capable of thinking in a linear manner. The reason being, as a hunter, that's all he required. If the animal is moving at 100 km speed in this space, in X meters and in X seconds, it will be here. In 1 minute, it will be here. That's what humans are trying to calculate mentally, right? But now, everything that you are thinking is kind of the way even Corona was going, right? The number of people getting affected. It happened exponentially. It was not like every day 1,000 people were getting affected. Today 1,000 people are getting affected, and the next day 10,000, next day 100,000. Before a matter of few days, the entire world got affected. These are all exponential. So we are not capable of understanding this exponential growth, right? There is this beautiful story of chessboard and the king. Have you guys heard this story before? I'm pretty sure, like, even if you know, you're not going to say. I see a couple of heads nodding. It's good. So basically, there was this guy who invented chess. He goes to the king, he presents his invention, and the king is baffled. Oh, amazing game, right? I'm going to do a lot of time pass with this. Ask what gift you want. The inventor says, okay, in the first block of the chess, give me 1 grain. In the second square, give me 2. In the third square, give me 4, 8, 16, and so on. He says, I'm so impressed, I want to give you half my kingdom, right? If you would have asked, I might have even given that, right? All you are asking is for few grains. Okay, I give it. Okay, he asked the minister to give that gift. The minister, after a few hours, he comes back and says, this is not possible. He says, why not? We had a very bountiful harvest. Our granary should be brimming with grains. Why not? Then that guy explains, I did the math, right? The total number of atoms in the earth, they are not enough, right? To actually give this guy, right? There are not enough atoms in earth. Don't even talk about the grains, because that is the power of exponential growth. There is also another significant thing, right? In the first half of the chessboard, up to 32 squares, the number is very limited, right? The number of grains that you are supposed to give. It can be, you can get this in like 10 acres of farm. That is enough to give the rise to the chess. But once it gets to the second half, things become interesting. That's where the magic happens. The doubling is so fast, so it's almost like, again, I think the best example is COVID. At the starting, the cases were like 1, 2, 4, 8. I think you will be thinking, okay, this is like only few people are getting affected. But it's always the important, what is the acceleration that's happening, right? At some point, it is hitting billion people at the same time, right? So the same thing was happening in the second half. Why the story is very relevant is, we all know about Moore's law, right? Moore's law states every 18 months, the amount of the capacity of a chip gets doubled, right? So the first chips got designed in the 1960s, right? So if you multiply 35 into 1.5, you get approximately 50. So by the time we hit 2010, the first half of chessboard is crossed, right? That is when the magic is happening. If you look at the amount of innovation that's happening in the last 10 years, right? In a few years, I think driverless cars are already a reality. They are in the trial phase. You will soon see millions of drivers, their jobs getting disrupted, right? And driving is a very complex thing. It's not very simple. There are so many parameters that you need to be aware. If driving can be disrupted, everything else can be disrupted, right? Because anything that you can train a human in 3 months or 2 years, you can train the computer easily. Because if you look at driverless cars again, for example, right? I'll be training one human individually for like 3 months or 6 months to make him perfect driver, right? A driverless car, at the same time, there will be like 1 million cars driving across the world. They're all learning as and when they are driving, and they'll all teach each other. In matter of few days, right? This car will be much more advanced than the best qualified driver. And this kind of thing will happen across industries, right? So you should be aware, right? It's very important to be aware of whatever is happening, how your world is getting disrupted in front of you, right? I'll also get into crypto, right? That is the industry I am representing. So in 2009, this guy called Satoshi Nakamoto, he comes up with this white paper called Bitcoin, right? I don't want to get into complex how Bitcoin works and all those things. I'll explain in a nutshell, right? It tries to disrupt currency, payments as we know it, the way gold works, the way Visa, MasterCard works, right? The simple example is, let's take fiat currency. Fiat currency is your rupees, your dollar. These are all called fiat currencies, right? Let me even start slightly before that. What is money, right? In the earliest days, if you go 3,000, 4,000 years ago, if you are living in a village, if you dig a well for your village, right, you have done something good for your community, right? That village will respect you. They will provide for you with food, clothes till your lifetime, right? Basically, this is money, right? You are doing something and you are earning some karma and you are getting paid back, right? So over a period of time, we try to codify. If you did this job, I will pay you so much money, which you can use it for other purposes. Basically, money, if you define it technically, money becomes moving value over space and time. What is space? If I am doing something in Chennai, I am earning a lot. I should be able to spend that money in US, right? That is moving value over space. I did a good work in India, but I am using that value in US, right? I am doing good work today. 10 years from now, I should be able to use that value, right? So that is moving value over time. If you look at rupees or even dollars, they are a very good way to move value over space. I can just wire money right? I have my friend in Delhi, I can send him 100 rupees in UPI, he receives it instantly. But they are very bad in moving value over time. If you take 10,000 rupees, you dig a hole in the ground right here, right? After 10 years, if you come, right, the value of money depreciates so much, right? When you are in childhood, I'm sure with 5 rupees you would have got a lot of things, lot of chocolates and stuff. With 5 rupees you can get the basic chocolate today, right? We say that land prices have increased, gold prices have increased. It's not the case, right? It's just that the buying power of rupee keeps on depreciating as government more and more prints money, right? So this is one part. If you look at gold, gold is a fantastic way to move your value over time. If you have 10 grams of gold today, it's valuable. Even after 100 years, this 10 grams of gold will be valuable, or if not more valuable. That's how it has happened. Over 3,000, 4,000 years, the value of gold has only appreciated. It has not depreciated, right? That is the reason why we value gold so much. That's why gold has a reputation. But it's a very poor way to transfer value over space. I cannot send my gold to someone in US or someone even in Adayar, I cannot send it instantly, right? Bitcoin tries to solve both of this, right? It tries to be like gold by having a limited supply. There is only 2 crore 10 lakh Bitcoins that can be possibly created, right? It doesn't have, like gold, it's decentralized. There's no one inventor or one company that's having control. It's open source, right? At the same time, it has the convenience of money, right? And it's actually even more convenient than money. If you want to send 10,000 rupees to your brother in US, it'll be very difficult, right? There is going to be so many forms that you need to fill and all those things. With Bitcoin, it's just a simple line of code, you'll be able to transfer this money, right? So Bitcoin did this. Then what happened? There are other crypto, if we can do this for currency, why can't we do it for the entire internet? That's what some people thought. Then came Ethereum, and today we have around 18,000 cryptocurrencies. Each of them are trying to disrupt internet in a different way, right? Simply putting things in perspective, right? Web can be divided into eras. In the first era, like which we can say started in the 1990s, it was more like a TV. There are a handful of companies creating some information and everyone was just consuming it, watching it. It's almost like reading a newspaper. You will go to a New York Times website, you will read the newspaper and then you come back, right? In Web 2.0, which started in the 2004, 2005, right? People not just consumed content, but also created content. So we call this the era of user-generated content. Very soon, the amount of content generated by users overtook the content created by these agencies. Today, trillions and trillions of terabytes of data are getting generated because people are creating data. When you make a Facebook post, you are creating data. When you make a tweet, you are creating data. When you upload your photo in Instagram or upload a video in TikTok, you are creating data, right? So this was the phase. And the people, the companies which predicted this, right? Zuckerberg predicted this. That's why he created Facebook in 2005. Jack Dorsey predicted this. That's why he created Twitter. Right, the Instagram creators, all those people, they created all their companies between 2005 to 2010, right? So now we are entering into the era of Web 3.0. See, normally these era in 2005 people didn't know like this is what Web 2.0 will be, right? Today we are looking back and saying, okay, this is what has happened in the last 15 years, so let's make it Web 2.0. So Web 3.0, we are not sure what it could be. Right? Whatever it is going to be, in 2045 or 2035, they'll look back and say in the last 15 years, these are the things about internet that has changed and this is what has defined this era. Right? But we can always predict. So what people are predicting is, in Web 1.0, you are just consuming information. In Web 2.0, you are creating and consuming information. In Web 3.0, you create, consume and also own a part of the platform. Right? When you own a Bitcoin, you are owning a piece of the network. Right? When you own an Ethereum, you are owning a piece of a network where your application is running. So the biggest problem, what has happened in Web 2.0 is all the data, all the information is flowing through a handful of companies. It's going to Facebook. When I am posting my profile picture for a few of my friends, why should Zuckerberg or someone in Facebook have access to that? Right? Why can't it be decentralized, just like how Wikipedia works? Right? Wikipedia, the problem is it depends on donations to keep it sustainable. Right? And also depends on altruism of few people to create that content. Right? Why should someone sit here and spend his time creating some content? Right? But people do it. Luckily, Wikipedia is there. But for a lot of other things, you need to incentivize people. That's why there are these various tokens. Right? So if you look at last, from 2000 to 2015 and all, a lot of the best engineers in the world, they were trying to make people click more. right? How do I make people click more ads? All this Google, Facebook, they're all ad-driven models, right? Their whole business is based on how do I make people click more, right? Now, but if you look at 90s, it was the era of protocols, HTTP, TCP/IP, all these interesting protocols got created, and that is what has defined the internet that we know. But if you look at it, like Tim Berners-Lee and the other people who were the part of this initial internet creation, they are like millionaires. They are not even billionaires, right? But small applications that got built on top of this, they are all billionaires. If you look at Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, right? So the reason being the data was not in the protocol, but the data was with the applications. But Web 3.0, it's trying to flip that. If you look at Bitcoin, the data is within the protocol layer itself. In the Ethereum, the data is within the protocol layer itself. There can be applications on top of this, but the applications will never have the control of data. The data will always be controlled by protocols. So again, the thing is getting reversed. Now people are spending more time in creating new protocols. That's why new cryptocurrencies are getting into the market every year, every month, right? Solana, Luna, right? I mean, I cannot even, it's not enough of time that we have here just to name those currencies. Forget talking about the technology behind it. So, world is getting into an interesting phase, right? The internet is getting disrupted right in front of our eyes, right? If you have a time machine, if you go back to 2000, in which companies will you invest? You'll invest in Google. If you have a time machine, you'll go to 2007 and invest in Facebook or Twitter, right? So, we would have just invested in the Nasdaq internet funds, right? You don't even have to pick one or two companies. You just focus on internet, right? Internet is growing at a breakneck pace, right? Nevertheless, maybe MySpace, Orkut, Hi-Fi, some companies might fail. But in overall, the internet companies will win, right? That is the idea. So today we are sitting at a juncture, right? So stock market carriers is all same thing, right? You are trying to predict what will be great in future and trying to invest, right? At least in stock market, you can change your decision every 3 years, 2 years. You can buy Apple, sell Tesla, and do whatever you want. But when you make a carrier decision, you are making some irreversible things. Of course, carrier is fluid today, right? You can shift companies, all those things. But it's very important if you are having a great start, right? Being at a fantastic position that you are, right? With companies want people like you, right? I think you should take a little bit of risk, right? Choose a niche which is very small today, which can become very huge tomorrow. Like for example, in my career, I started with Vodafone in telecom. Telecom was growing very fast in the 1990s and 2000. But by the time I joined, it was kind of slowed down, right? I was looking at which is growing faster. I joined renewables, right? I was in a company called Amplus Energy, which was into the solar, right? Then I see it's growing fast, but not fast enough for me. Then we started this crypto company along with Vikram, right? This is an amazing space to be. I'm very happy I chose this business because, see, in 1990s, anyone who has joined in an IT, right, he will be at a very senior position, right? Because that entire domain is growing, right? All you have to do is like slightly above average. You don't even have to be like the excellent person like Bill Gates or Zuckerberg. You are slightly above average. That's what they say. The rising tide raises all boats, right? The entire this thing is lifted. It's almost like you are buying in Chennai. You don't have to buy in, let's say, Boat Club or something. As the city grows, the value of your property grows. So it's very important. I think you should, a lot of time what happens is like, how do we take engineering college? You have finished 12th, okay, next step is engineering. You don't even think why we are taking this course, why we are doing engineering, right? Don't repeat these mistakes. Know what you are choosing, right? Let the company not choose you. You choose the companies. This is the domain I want to work. This is the field I want to create my career in. I see potential. And today, people who take risk, they are valued in the ecosystem. If you are a failed startup founder, there are a lot of companies who are willing to take you at much higher price than if you are just an employee. Because when you are a startup founder, you have taken a lot of risk. You know a lot more, right? Because in the startup, things happen only if you do, right? It's not a large organization. If you take 2 months of leave, no one even notices, right? Things just keep running, but that doesn't happen in a startup. So a successful startup or a failed startup, nevertheless, the experience will be valued. So I think we are in a time where is the best time to take risks. I think if you are thinking about like way ahead, I think that's how you should look at things. Choose wisely. You are a fantastic, I think you have got a fantastic start. In 15 overs, you are batting at 200 for 2. I think you should take a little bit more risk and try to create your highest score. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience. I request Mr. Swaminathan, sir, to present a small memento to thank Mr. Arjun Vijay, sir. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. With that being said, next up, I extend a very warm welcome to our next guest speaker, Mr. Nedicherian. He is a prominent educationist as well as a social entrepreneur who completed his bachelor's in mechanical engineering in 1990. He started a small-scale and successful career counseling company that has been on the run for more than 18 years, which provides various services like choice filling and helping students figure out their career paths. I warmly welcome sir to come up to the stage and address the gathering.
So I'm happy to introduce one of our old alumni, Mr. Nedunjeliyan. I think 10 days back I was going through a TV news channel and I happened to see one debate. You might have seen him in so many debates. But that was a debate on whether to have an entrance for this BSc BCom, all that. So he was there and I was eagerly looking for what he is about to say. So I have always seen him as a very calm and composed person in all those debates. And rightly, as introduced by the MC, he is a very well-known personality in the student community, and most of you might have already seen him and you would have listened to him in different occasions. And as part of CEG Tech Forum, as part of Kurukshetra K-Talk, we extend a warm welcome to you once again, sir. So please give him a big round of applause. It is not that he is addressing to the students of Anna University for the first time. He has addressed in so many forums. I have attended and I have been listening to him. And for your kind information, he is and he was a very good follower of one of our eminent Vice Chancellor, Professor Ananthakrishnan. Still I remember that. So he always quote him as his role model, and I have seen him getting a lot of inputs from Professor Ananthakrishnan. Most of you may not be knowing, he was one of our eminent Vice Chancellor. He served in this university and next to Professor V.C. Kudanji Swami. So he was our, again, former Vice Chancellor. So with such a good credit, he is with us and he is to share his experience and his views with our student community. So on behalf of CEG Tech Forum and on behalf of Kurukshetra K-Talk, I extend a warm welcome once again, and thank you, sir, for being here. Thank you.
So good evening everybody. It is a great pleasure to be in this hall, Henry Maudsley. I am quite used to Koodal Hall and this hall almost for the past 10 years. So I thank organizers and everyone for providing this wonderful opportunity. And it's great pleasure, and Mr. Mike sir said, this institution is a great institution and there's no doubt about it. It's like a planting of seeds here, and all the seeds will just grow like a big trees. We have seen over the period of last basically so many years. I passed out in 1990 from the same department. That time these are all very only classrooms. Now it's become NP Maudsley Hall. So I'll start the session. Basically, it's like I made a small presentation exclusively for this with a mix of what is our past, who we are, what we do, and next, and what is our CEG testimonial, and what is how one has to take a career path, and how the industry is moving, where we need to just position ourselves. That is a whole area. So I thank Guru Kshetra team and all the organizers and continuously following up us and providing the wonderful support and whatever they did. And I'm basically really amazed with the leadership skills. I wish them all the best for all the team members. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I'll start this one. We always believe in this particular statement. Education is a wealth. Nobody can destroy that. It will come in a different forms. It may come in the money or cryptocurrency, or it may be a land, or it may be a diamond, or whatever it may be. We should not reject anything. Okay. So, like whatever it comes, please fight. So, education is a wealth. So, if you are refusing that particular wealth, you are not going to climb up in your stairs. Actually, you are going to come up in your ladder. That's very important. So, it's a very well said. And Valluvar, almost like 2000 years back, he has given us such a worldly knowledge. That means we have a strong evidence that 2000 years back, our community, basically the people who are speaking Tamil, and they have a very strong knowledge. That is the reason he can able to give all this wonderful and wisdom for the entire community. Means we have a strong education background. It's all in our genes. Second, we don't dig deeper and wider for diamonds because we are happy with the sands, because we don't dig deeper. That is very, very important. நம்மளோட தேடல் ஆழமாகவும் விரிவாகவும் இருக்கிறதில்ல. That's how I have said. That's we in course of time will understand. And I said, Professor said, and I also work with Professor M. Anandakrishnan. And I feel that every day window of opportunity will come and knock your door, like what Mr. Robin Sharma says. I met with him very casually on occasion to just get my forward for the booklet. Then that's how it started. He passed out in College of Guinea in 1952. And first B Civil Engineering from University of Minnesota, and first in India, and 2 times Vice Chancellor in Anna University, and 3 times Chairman of IIT Kanpur. And Mr. Infosys Narayana Murthy is all his students, and basically he has a very good connections. And he worked in UN, and almost like then after that he came and IIT Advice at Tidal Park, and there are so many institutions. You are Infit and Tamil for keyboards, everything came from him only. There are so many, and his mission is basically one educated individual, and is an important stepping stone for the progress of his family and his society and his entire nation. That's very true. And he started from Vaniambadi, went into first science council in Washington DC, and it's an amazing path, an unbelievable person. And we lost him in COVID in very recently. Okay, so I dedicate this particular one to him, and I'll just get into the ancient times and who we are. We have a Sangam period, we have Agatyam, Tulhapiyam. The Keeladi is giving a lot of evidences. We have a 2,600 years back civilization, and people use the measurement system. We use Kanakadigaram, that is 8 atoms equal to 1 Kadirthugal, which is equivalent to 9.27 nanometer. Nanometer has been found very recently, but our forefathers are using all this measurement system almost like more than so many years. And even if you go to villages, they used to talk about furlong. 5 furlongs equal to 1 kilometer. We never knew that. And we are the only civilization in the world. We fraction one like anything. Even if you go to kitchens, we have Visam, Kal Visam, all this in place. Unfortunately, without knowing the real meaning, we are using all those things. And we are the only people in the world, multiples of 10. Nura means how many ciphers should be there. And Bukkodi means it's a Pramakarpam. So all the things in place. And similarly, 1000 Chola dynasty was one of the best dynasty in the world. They were controlling from Sri Lanka to Sumatra. The military strength of Chola was basically, it's like 65,000 soldiers and almost like 20 lakh soldiers and 65,000 elephants. And look at whenever the elephant goes for basically a war, it will be more ferocious, and it's like entire village will vibrate. And the village will basically out of ferocious apoma. And they basically one Talamar, Talabadi, they have elephant cops and all those things. And entire Indian Ocean was controlled by King Rajendra Chola. To commemorate this, Indian government has released a stamp. But recently our naval chief was saying the entire Indian Ocean was controlled by Chinese army. What we had is and what we lost is completely unbelievable. And Kallanai was one of the marvelous structure, 2000 years old. And unfortunately, we don't celebrate Kallanai because it was one of the best irrigation system in the world. And there is a British called Mr. Scott. He copied the model. He went to West Godavari and East Godavari, and they have a museum for Mr. Scott in Amalapuram in West Godavari. So look at the detailed planning, almost like 12,50,000 acres in old Tanjavur district, and giving a wonderful irrigation system. And one of the 2,000 years old structure, still it's functioning. It's a unique foundation. and none of us are studying in deeper in terms of civil engineering. And today we are talking about all the manifesto of connecting rivers, but Tamils have demonstrated almost like 2,000 years back. And all the temples, these are marvelous structures. Unfortunately, we have become very selfish. நம்ம நேரா போய் அம்மன் சன்னதியில் application போட்டு வெளியே வந்துடுறோம். இந்த temple appreciate பண்ண மாட்டேங்கிறோம். How much effort they took, and how basically they don't have much இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு engineering collegesலாம் கிடையாது. But how they brought all the structures, it's basically amazing. Unfortunately, we have a very poor education. That's the reason we are not in a position to appreciate the beauty of the structure, or basically either it's a divinity or you call it as a painting or sculpture or anything. And basically we have a strong educational roots. Last 600 years, I don't find any such historical evidences happening in the state or anywhere in the country. And they have, in North Arcad, they have all the schools. We have 40 languages schools in North Arcad and Tirunelveli and all the locations. And you name anything, agriculture to astronomy, mathematics, metallurgy, and everything, people are excelling. And we have a strong evidences for everything. And the education had passed. Thousands of brilliant minds, they came together, shared the domain knowledge, whatever they know. And they demonstrated unbelievable teamwork. Unfortunately, we were not able to execute even with 10 members. But they can able to demonstrate with, basically we don't know how many people would have worked. And they left their engineering footprints for the future generation to wonder. And that is a past, the education had passed, that is deep rooted in our genes. That means the education is a normal process, like how we are basically growing, like crawling or anything, or standing and speaking to somebody. It's a natural process. Unfortunately, the commercial world is complicated. So we feel that education is very tough and we could not able to make it. That's all completely, we don't believe in that. So the current scenario, how we transform the elephant. The elephant, those days I told you, it's used for wars. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம the elephant எதுக்கு யூஸ் பண்றோம்? Just for begging, or basically just bless us in the gate of the temple or for the temple procession. இல்லையா? எலிஃபண்ட்டுக்கே இப்படி ஒரு டேலண்ட் இருக்குன்னு தெரியாத அளவுக்கு எப்படி எலிஃபெண்ட்டை மாற்றணுமோ அப்படி தான் நம்மளை மாற்றி வச்சுருக்காங்க. கரெக்டாக இல்லையா? Okay, you have a lot of innate talents which is not known to you. See, because we tied with the chain, and you are spending, as Mr. Mike said and whatever my previous speaker also said, we are wasting our entire knowledge system, whatever the innate talents, whatever we had. Like basically you need to break the chain and you have to come out and explore your innate potential which is not known to you. But still, whatever the constraints we talked about, you are the one of the luckiest population in the world. Do you agree with the statement? I'm saying you are one of the luckiest people in the world. Why? Anyone? Only cameraman is getting up. Yeah. Anyone? Then, like Mike sir, I need to point out somebody. Is it okay for everybody? I'm saying you are the luckiest population in the world. Why? Okay, the India's median age is 28.1. We don't have this population anywhere in the world, and we are one of the. You are going to cater for the rest of the world, and China is 38.4, US is 38.5. All it's an aging population. And what are the technologies we are talking about? We don't have a human manpower with the technical skills and all these things. So this is a great advantage. No other population had such a unique opportunity. You have an unique opportunity. Please go and capitalize all these opportunities. So actually we are entering into fourth industrial revolution. First one is the steam, then we move to electricity, computing. Now it is completely on intelligence. And based on WFO, the World Economic Forum, and they say that the frontier technologies will come and change the world completely in a different dimensions, which nobody can think about it. Like 2018, we never expected anything called it's COVID, okay? And it's completely changed. And like that, the landscape of every industry will change. I'll show you in course of time. The main point of our concern, basically, our concern is disruption of jobs and demanding the skills will be the day of the order. That means your job is not going to be permanent. Any job, unless if you don't upskill your technology or whatever it's happening, you will be left out in the domain. So we will be basically working like you are not interested in just moving to smartphone, you want to use only button phone, means you will be left out in the technology. Like the technology is moving in a rapid scale in every vertical, not only in this particular vertical, and that means you need to upskill constantly, not like the earlier days, and it's a continuous process, okay? So the education expectation from and we strongly believe in the statement, I think most of the speakers said, everyone is genius, everyone is having a unique capacity and uniqueness. Please try to go and try to grab this opportunity. So this story, I'm just skipping this one. So most of us, when we come to college, this is the three basically parameters comes to our mind. Whenever anyone talks about education, I need to go and just look for good employment, or I need to go for the course which is having a very good scope, or I need to go by my interest. Whether all the three statement is correct or wrong. So how many of you agree with the statement? That is, all the three statements is correct. Can you raise your hands at least? Yeah. How many of you are not agreeing for that? Okay, only two. Rest all I can consider as a typical politician. We don't talk anything on any point of time. Okay. Can I assume like this? Now I am asking, how many of you agree with the statement? Can you raise your hands? Otherwise, I will call everybody is perfect combination of EPS and OPS. Whenever it's a problem, we don't talk. Okay. So please, how many of you agree with the statement? Can you raise your hands? Okay. How many of you don't agree with the statement? Okay. Fantastic. Still somebody is not raising hands. Okay, fine. So actually all the three statements are completely wrong. The purpose of education is not employment. Okay. If you go with the placement, placement is very important. How many of you feel placement is very, very important? Can you raise your hands? Any other factor beyond placement is important? Come on guys, you need to interact. It's basically, yeah. Very good. Anybody, any other thing? Beyond placement, what are the other factors are very, very important? Okay. But nobody requires vitamin M. Okay, money we don't want, okay? If you are going to see, it's a placement in the name of placement. If somebody is starting with a salary of, and basically with a 5 lakhs is the starting package when at the age of 22, okay, when you are passing out the college. And somebody with a good knowledge getting a package of 20 lakhs. In 10 years, that person will be reaching 30 lakhs. Okay, in 20 years, that person will be somewhere in the 50 lakhs. But if you are starting with 5 lakhs to reach this 20 lakhs, you will be spending almost like another 20 years. So whether the placement is important or package is important. Now only we are digging deeper and wider like what Abhay said. Am I correct? We are looking for diamonds. Okay. So second point, and these are all your competitors. People talk about scope. Scope nobody can predict. Okay, this is an artificial human, and beyond you can just so it's an artificial human, computationally created. It's not a basically real human.
Artificial human. It's a little bit different from an AI. I was computationally created based on how real humans look and behave. Every being has a unique personality, emotion, and intelligence.
So she's a one makeup consultant will be giving information for millions of people worldwide. And one weather forecasting person will be giving information from Washington DC to Wayanad to Kottambatti. And when you go to airport, you'll be finding out a panel. Okay, you're not going to scan your passport and this person. Yoga teacher, school teacher.
I'll be someone.
So this is the future. Already it's launched. Samsung Technology Advanced. This is a star has been launched, and the person is basically a Pranav Mistry. You can just go and have a look at it. This is your competitor.
So here we are.
So the
finally an update on the.
Okay. The next is basically additive manufacturing. The manufacturing process is going to completely change. Okay. All our lathe and everything will be go off. So this is about GE is doing through 3D printing. Okay, you can just do any part, any component at no time. Okay.
What is additive manufacturing? Additive manufacturing, also known as 3D printing, is a process that creates a physical object from a digital design. An engineer designs the object using computer-aided design, or CAD software. The 3D design file is then sliced into thin layers and uploaded to an additive manufacturing machine. The manufacturing process begins once an extremely thin layer of metal powder is spread across the platform. A heat source, such as laser or electron beam, then melts the first layer of the 3D design. The platform is lowered, and another layer of metal powder is spread across the platform.
So any complicated components from aerospace to mechanical, your regular automobile components, everything can be manufactured at no time.
The metallic powder is removed, and a physical object is revealed. Additive manufacturing allows you to produce parts that are lighter, stronger, and more durable.
So this is scope, okay? When we talk about scope, people talk about various areas and domains and everything, but the domains also will change. Okay, the current EV, if you take, And current IC engines, that there are 2000 plus moving parts. When you come to basically the electric vehicles, it will be only 18 moving parts. Please note down this, the Tony Sabha lecture will be very good on clean disruption on telecom, and he talks about various vertical and everything. So then what is the purpose of going by interest is correct thing or wrong? Students, whether going by interest is correct or wrong? Okay, but suppose your interest is only curd rice and pickle. Tomorrow I will send you to a 5-star hotel and just give you 300 varieties. Will you pick up only curd rice and pickle and walk away, or will you look into other items? That means your interest is same. When I am giving 10 options, your interest will be 2. If I am giving 300 options, your interest will change. Am I correct? Human mind is worse than the monkey mind. Am I correct? When we see the next best thing, we'll jump into that. Okay. So interest is something illusion or imaginary world. Then what is the purpose of education? The purpose of education is to infuse confidence in young minds to face any future challenges anywhere in the world at any point of time. Unless if you don't get this confidence, then you will not be very successful. Am I correct or wrong? Any domain. Okay. I'll go with the normal 2 example. One is obviously Mr. Pichai, born in Madurai. He did schooling in Chennai. When he was in school, Google never existed. And there are 3 important takeaways from Mr. Pichai. One, going to the premier institution. He never compromised on the quality. Number 2, and willingness to learn anything at any point of time. He learned only metallurgy, and if basically Mr. Pichai has not studied anything related to computer science, if he refuses to accept computer science, Mr. Pichai is equal to Google equation will not exist. That means willingness to learn anything at any point of time. Third, n number of people worked in Google. Why he had been elevated? Because he was staying at present. He is basically least bothered about the future, because once your investment on present is very good, your future will be automatically taken care. So the 3 takeaway, first is going to the premier institution, already you are there. Second, willingness to learn anything at any point of time, that's a need of the hour. And third, basically we need to just, and staying at present and giving him 100% focus for the present is very, very important. Second, Dr. Raghuram Rajan, electrical engineering, the same way, and is an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and MIT Stone School of Management. And in addition to all the 3 qualities Mr. Pichai had, in addition, there's a unique another one uniqueness what we can just take from Mr. Raghuram Rajan is basically, and knowing the fact that you should not demonetize the money means telling the guts to the government, stating that knowing the fact that government will throw him out, and with the confidence he can able to just tell the government, because the confidence is wherever I go I will get a much better than job this in RBI governor. Am I correct? That is the confidence you should gain from the education. If you don't gain the confidence, then it's very difficult to face the world. And some of our CG testimonial, this girl is a 80 rupees per day daily wages laborer daughter from basically from Thiruvallur district, Krishnavedi. We put her in medical science and we helped her. 3rd year she went to Germany. Final semester she went to Leibniz for exchange program, and now currently she is working with Amazon North Germany with 45,000 euro. Okay, then in 2 months salary, the entire family situation has been changed only because of education. I have seen enormous transformation in Guinea. I'll just quote with 1 or 2. This guy is currently studying, Sundar is studying here. Sundar just joined, he wrote a letter to us, just one simple letter. I can't afford to pay a fees in BSc Max in Tyagaraja College, so I am going to discontinue the course. So we found that his mark is very good enough to get a computer science in college in Guinea. So because he could not be able to spend 500 rupees for application, so now in Apple he found some security bug and got $5,000. This is more than enough to get a placement in a decent company. Okay, and similarly this guy from the same and government school, and from Noordin we put him in a BC Muslim criteria in geoinformatics, but his communication is not very great, but we helped him do a course on online in MOOCs, all your edX and Coursera and everything. He got 30 plus certificates. When he went for placement, he had shown all the certificates from Google, Microsoft, Harvard and everything. He had been recruited by a startup company. He worked in Delhi for 2 years with 10 lakh salary. He quit the job. He came back and started working from home, earning almost like $80 per hour now. And just before COVID, he conducted his sister's marriage at Egmore and AC Hall. And it's completely, the transformation is unbelievable. Okay, only through education you can reach such heights, and that can take you to a number of unbelievable heights. Okay, similarly, this guy is 100% visually challenged from government Poothammalli Blind School. So from Tamil medium, we put him in Newell's coaching all the 5 years without any areas, maintain a first class with good grade. Now working as a Coal India assistant manager, legal e-governance, and getting around more than 1.2 lakh per month. Okay, and we have sent this guy, we put him from Salem to Delhi Technology University Environmental, and he did some coding program for Wimbledon matches, and currently doing a Stanford, completed from Stanford. And similarly 59% we put him in MS University Baroda working for Oscars, and currently he signed up with the Life of Pi director and doing amazing things. So beyond marks, beyond certain things, please try to utilize the campus like anything. Try to learn so many things what is happening on the, whether it's an activity of organizing or anything, it's all going to help you. This guy, we put him from Arun from Ariyalur. He was doing a rubber and plastics in MIT. Currently he wrote NID, National Institute of Design, so, and first rank in film and video communication and 10th rank in animation film design. He is currently doing it in NID, Ministry of Industry and Commerce and Ahmedabad. So what I would like to say is now you can jump from any domain to any domain. Okay, there are so many opportunities. It's never exists during our period. For example, your IIT Madras Christian Medical College, Vellore Sri Chitra Tirunal, they are offering MTech Clinical Engineering. Doctors and engineers can study together. 1 year in IIT, 6 months in CMC, 6 months in Sri Chitra with 25,000 rupees stipend. This exists from basically 2010 onwards. Many of us, we never knew this course. And similarly, there is only doctors can go and study in IIT Kharagpur. There is a course called Master in Medical Science Technology. We put a doctor from Stanley Medical College, he completed, is currently working with a GE Research. And similarly, only engineers can go and study in medical college. Sri Chitra Tirunal, it's one of the premier institutions. Dr. Cherian, he passed out from this institution really. After MBBS, you have to study for 5 years. Okay, this is MS Bioengineering, and basically any graduate from undergraduation with the mechanical, electrical or whatever the computer, any branch, and with GATE qualification, you can go for this particular course. And I met a doctor, Mr. Mohan Kameshwaran doctor, and his family is 5 generation of doctors. And his mother was a vice chancellor of Dr. MGR Medical University. He said, my son, he did engineering from Gindi. Then after that, he went to US and for doing a bioengineering. And in 5 years, he got 2 chartered flights, and he basically find the entire generation, whatever they earn, and he can able to make it in 5 years. And you choose bioengineering, and the family is very happy. Okay. So like that, there are so many opportunities. Stanford and Ames Delhi, IIT Delhi, they are offering a biodesign program. And 1 semester in Stanford, 1 semester in Ames Delhi, 1 semester in IIT Delhi. The government is giving 25,000 rupees stipend. Biodesign, you can do that. Entire expenses will be borne by the government. You can do it at free of cost. And there is a National Brain Research Center where doctor engineers can study together. Annual fees is only 10,000. The government is giving 12,000 rupees per month for the stipend for the students. Recently, IIT Gandhinagar has started. BE, MBBS, BSc, BA, BCom can study together on MSc Cognitive Science. So like mobile, there are so many changes happening on the academics also. Unfortunately, we are not looking for this detailed information. And similarly, after completing your engineering, medicine, you can go and do a law at IIT Kharagpur, IP law. And this also, the competition is very, very less. Only the number of applicants are less than 1,000. And you are going to compete with the people who knew this information. So, like that, you can do a master's in heritage and conservation management if you want to just make this a UNESCO structure. For example, Mahabalipuram is a UNESCO heritage. If you want to do that, there is a course available from the UNESCO Wildlife Institute of India coming under Ministry of Climate and Energy. So way forward, there are a lot of good things are happening, a lot of opportunities are coming. Now, how we need to just make a career choices. Now, the higher education teaching institution is just playing in the 0 to 2 level, and corporate organizations are playing in the 4 to 6 level, and real research is happening on 8 to 10 level. Please try to just jump into that, whether it's GE research or Google research or whatever the research, and go to the best places and learn what is happening on the current level. And now you have an access to internet and everything. You can browse what is happening on Stanford, MIT or any best universities in the world, and make use of your alumni connections. And these are the top 10 breakthrough technologies given by MIT and Forbes and everything, McKinsey and everything. But I just listed everything, but all the statement is completely wrong, and it will be one of the best person. And then so many good universities are offering. If you take artificial intelligence in Quebec, Milad is a good institution. A lot of our students from IITs are going there. And they are working on solar irradiance, virtual health provider, and concrete properties they are monitoring worldwide. Almost like 8,000 concrete machines they are following it up. In geotech, it's applying for AA. And there are so many things, 9,000 researchers, and working with the University of Montreal and McGill, and a lot of things are happening. And similarly, if you take Corridor School of Mines, and one of the authority, they have a ASTPRC, the Advanced Steel Processing Center, where all the companies they tied up, and all the companies are coming and doing all these events, and any patent exchange, everything is happening in the mines.edu. You can just go and have a look at it. I would like to finish with one small video from Mr. Vinod Khosla. He's a co-founder of Sun Microsystem, and it's very important talk.
You have to have the courage to fail them, because most likely you're going to.
I think Mr. Arjun has told about failure, courage to fail.
And that's a particular segment of the venture capital business or the investing business. It's not every segment. Capital preservation is important in other segments. It's just boring to me. It's much more exciting to be on a roller coaster where the highs are high and the lows are low. So risk taking is absolutely essential. Now, as career advice to all of you, you can make money and good status and all that in regular big companies. There's very little really interesting stuff you can do in big companies. It comes it's shocking to people, but who reinvented retail? It wasn't Walmart, it was Amazon. Who reinvented media? It wasn't NBC, it was YouTube. Who reinvented space? It wasn't Lockheed, it was SpaceX. I was hard pressed to think of one thing that had come out of a large company in the last 20, 30 years that was materially changing the landscape.
So this is very important.
And the reason is very simple. And this is, all interesting things happen at the edges of the system. They don't happen in the solid core. And all that you have to do where things are fuzzy, unclear, uncertain. If there's a market forecast, it's not at the edge of the system. If some analyst has a report, it's not worth going into that area.
So he talks about the various reports.
I have a whole thing about analysts, we can get there.
Let's actually talk about it.
Okay, so ask me after I finish this thought. In the edges where things are uncertain is where all the evolution is, and where interesting changes in business or society happen. And unless you're there and learning fast from being there and not being too
It's very, very
arrogant,
important. Your learning curve should
happen.
be very fast and rapidly.
You're not going to be in that learning edge of the wave where new things are happening. And as career advice, I say, and that's where failure happens often. You want failure to be small and success to be very large, which is the characteristic of option value. You lose your option price, but you get option value if it's successful. That all happens at the edge. In automotive, there was a CEO, in fact, I've had 3 CEOs from the 10 largest auto companies come by in the last 6 months. And I said, I wouldn't worry about building a better car. Almost certainly, 10 years from now, a Volkswagen or a Toyota will be a financing entity, not a car-making entity. There will not be the notion of marketing to consumers. The auto industry, as we know it, I think will disappear. Disappear in the sense of IBM mainframes are still around. They're still a business. They're relatively static. They're filling an old need. But almost certainly the number of cars produced 10 years from now will be less than half of what is produced today for sale to consumers. Now, we don't have enough time to go into why I believe that. Almost certainly, and I'm serious about this, I gave a talk at the Stanford Med School, and I said, if I wanted to be a good doctor in 15, 20 years, I wouldn't go to the med school. If I wanted to be a good doctor, I would go to the math department.
So actually, he's an electrical engineer from IIT Delhi and biomedical engineer from Carnegie Mellon University and Stanford MBA. And most of his predictions are very
you
pretty
can
good.
join Medtronic.
You can go and have a look at this video.
And do incremental things. Or you can try to learn at the edges where your probability of failure is much high. But the consequence, all their forecasts, for 20 years, 28,000 individual forecasts from 250 experts, where when the forecast was made, he classified what would be a success, what would be a failure, and the book is called
You can note the book, it's an Expert Political Judgment. It's one of the fantastic
all
books.
these great studies the 10-year studies McKinsey did for millions of dollars for AT&T on what would happen to the cell phone business. That's a fun story. Across 28,000 individual forecasts and 84,000 possible scenarios, the average accuracy of the best experts, whether it was Henry Kissinger, Tom Friedman, McKinsey, your favorite economic forecaster, the average accuracy was about the same, to use his words, as dart throwing monkeys.
So that is very important.
So if you want to
so
run,
you can go and have a look at this entire video. And a lot of see, there are n number of opportunities are available. Now we are guiding so many students from various institutions across the country. Getting admission at the best universities are very highly possible for your background and your qualification and thing. Please make use of all these opportunities. It's a world of opportunities. Never stop trying anything. And it's a wonderful institution. Your brand name is there for almost like 225 years and above. And make use of this, and you have very good strong alumni connect, try to connect everything. And there are so many good things are happening. And please look at the opportunities. Every opportunity will come in an indirect manner, it will never come in direct manner. Try to identify this opportunity and try to make use of this opportunity. I thank everyone for just patient hearing. Wish you all the best, and I wish everyone should come up in a life in a much more better manner and great success. I want you to achieve a great success and wish you all the best. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom. Now I request our Swami sir to give him a memento. With this, we come to a conclusion. I, on behalf of the entire team of Kurukshetra, would like to thank all the respected speakers for adorning this occasion. Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Vikram Subbaraj sir, CEO of Geotis, and also our Swami sir, our Chief Coordinator, and of course, the audience for attending today's event. I hope everyone enjoyed today. And once again, thank you all for coming. Have a great evening. I request the students to wait for 2 more minutes.
Also join.